Great, ma'am. So we are there on the screen. So we can just wait for a few of our friends. As soon as they will join in, then we will start with the session today.
Okay, perfect. So, this is the second live video that you guys are doing.
Yes, you are the second one. First we had was from Germany. He was a tech expert. He was into web development and all.
Yeah, no, I watched that one. It was very good.
Thank you so much. So friends, you can join in as soon as possible and do give a thumbs up if you're ready with the session.
Okay, I see we're live now. Got the
Yes.
notification.
Okay, so now I think we can start. A very warm good evening to all the viewers from India and from South Africa. I, Prachi Bhardwaj, co-founder of Concept Clarity, welcome Miss Tamsyn Jack on this channel. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a really big honor.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Even it is our pleasure that you take out the time from your busy schedule and you are here with us telling us about your life. It means a lot to me as well as my students watching you today.
Yes, no, thanks again for having me on. I love the work that you guys are doing. I really wish we had something similar in South Africa. But yeah, it's a really big privilege to be on your platform.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So students, I will give you a quick glimpse of ma'am's profile so that you may come to know like why we have called ma'am today, how expert is she in her own field. So let me start. Miss Tamsyn Jack is the owner of Pique Digital, a small business that specializes in bottom line focused digital marketing strategies that help other business to generate consistent lead, sales and revenue. She focuses primarily on Facebook and Instagram ads, sales, funnels, website optimization, and digital storytelling. She has studied and obtained the degree of food in science and chemistry at the University of Stellenbosch in South Africa. But her passion for business and sales psychology lead her discovering the very exciting world of the digital marketing. In her opinion, if you have a business, you have to understand digital marketing because it is the single biggest tool that you can use to grow your business exponentially. So, ma'am will be telling us today basically about what is digital marketing, how you as a student can start your career in digital marketing despite the fact if you don't have a degree as of now, even if you are the school student. So without taking any more time of yours, ma'am, over to you. Please tell us about yourself in a more detail so that students can correlate with you very closely.
Yeah, so I think the question, tell me more about yourself, is always the hardest one to answer. And I find it very difficult to answer because I think we're always changing, we're always growing as human beings. But yeah, I'm a 24-year-old digital marketer and I'm an aspiring entrepreneur from the beautiful South Africa. I'm someone that is very passionate about learning and I'm always learning new things. I'm always trying new things and I'm very committed to growing as a human being, physically, mentally, spiritually. I really love, one of my biggest hobbies is listening to podcasts and YouTube channels, much like this one, that are centered around having a growth mentality, having a growth mindset. Maybe one thing that's a little bit more personal about me is when I was young, I had a prophet tell me that my spiritual gift is discernment of people. So that means that I can very deeply empathize with other people and I can understand and very quickly figure out what is important to somebody else, which has been a big blessing in the work that I do, especially when it comes to digital marketing and building a marketing message. Something else that I really believe in is I think that women are the future. And I say that because women are the mothers of our next generation. So I feel,
correct.
yes, I feel very deeply convicted to build something for young, underprivileged women in my country specifically. Girls who weren't given a lot of opportunities in this life just because of where they were born. So, yeah, I think there was a recent report in South Africa that there was about 23,000 teenage pregnancies in Gauteng in South Africa, which is only one part of South Africa. And 1,000 of those cases were girls aged 10 to 14. So it's teen pregnancy is definitely a problem in my country. My motto in life is create the things that you wish existed. So later this year, I'll be launching an NPO that focuses on mentoring young underprivileged women in South Africa. So my plan is to basically connect those women or those young girls with powerhouse career women that are going to be able to nurture their talents, that are going to be able to provide them with resources, open doors for them, lend them their network, and possibly even finance their studies. So that is something I'm very excited about and I'm currently working on. Fun facts about me, my childhood role model is Hermione from Harry Potter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a very, very big Harry Potter nerd. And yeah, I think my favorite thing in the world to do is just unwind after a long day in the bath with a cup of tea or a glass of wine, obviously depending on how the day went. But yeah, I think I'll cut it there before we go down a rabbit hole. But that's just a little bit about me and who I am and what my heart is about.
So, ma'am, we were very good to hear like you are doing such a philanthropy work in future. So, do let us know at any moment of time we can also help you in your philanthropy.
Thank you. Yes, if you are interested in collaborating, I'd really appreciate that.
Definitely in this philanthropy, as well as we being a female, definitely we should help, and we should only have to encourage the female, else there won't be anyone else to encourage them. So that's very
Yes,
important.
yes, it is.
So do let us know whenever we can help you.
I will. I'll let you know when I've launched it. I'll make an announcement and then yeah, I'd be interested to see what we can work.
Definitely. So, ma'am, next question we can ask is like, was digital marketing always that you wanted, or something molded you for this? No, no, now I can go into digital marketing, or it was like from by passion, or since childhood you were like, I have to go into digital marketing only.
Yeah. So I think growing up, I didn't even know what digital marketing was. I didn't even know it was a career option. And I think now it's really grown into, something that children should consider as a career option when they grow up. But when I was in school, it was my dream to become a medical doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, so quite different. But as I grew older, I realized that the only reason I wanted to become a doctor is because I had the academics for it. So I had high marks, and all my teachers said, you should become a doctor. So I was like, okay, I'll become a doctor. But I had an art teacher when I was in primary school, and she used to tell me, or she used to warn me that I should never disregard my creativity. And yeah, anyway, long story short, I ended up pursuing a degree in food science and chemistry, only to be confronted by my art teacher's words of advice that she gave to me when I was very small. So in my third year of university, I realized that she was right, and that I was not going to be happy spending my day working behind a lab counter for the rest of my life, or working in a consult. And I think during my years of study, I really found that my creative side wasn't being stimulated, and I really craved a creative outlet in my life. I really wanted to work with people more. the other thing that sort of led me to digital marketing is I had an ex-boyfriend whose dad was a phenomenal businessman and someone I really respected and looked up to. And in their house, they had a library of books, and I borrowed a book about business, and I found it extremely interesting. So I started reading more and more books about entrepreneurship and business. And that sort of got my brain thinking in a different way because I'd never considered that to be something that I would end up doing one day. I also met my current boyfriend, Yaku, who's a tech entrepreneur. So he's also really inspired me to think more creatively about business as a career option. And yeah, the deeper I dove, the more I realized how important digital marketing is in a modern day business. And as you said, if you're wanting to start a business, you absolutely need to understand the concepts of digital marketing. So digital marketing and entrepreneurship really presented me with a sweet spot where I could marry my analytical brain, the numbers and logical thinking with the creative side, storytelling, creating something that wasn't there before. And yeah, I think ultimately my goal is to really master digital marketing and then one day, start my own business, which I have done now. But yeah, try a couple of my own business ideas out and see what works, see what doesn't work. But yeah, I think entrepreneurship is my ultimate goal.
Okay, so I think we can say that your art teacher was your guiding light for this career.
He was, and it's so funny because I made a post about it on social media the other day where I told her, and I haven't seen her or spoken to her in years, but I told her, she really inspired me to not put myself in a box as I either need to become a doctor or a lawyer, but someone who can, pursue a creative career and also be successful at it. Because I think when you're growing up, you think, or a lot of children are taught that creative career paths mean that you're going to struggle financially. And I think in this day and age, that's not the case anymore. You can be very successful and be an artist or be a musician or, yeah, just be the best at what you do, but in a creative field.
Yes, ma'am, you are correct. So, ma'am, so when you were planning for your digital marketing, you read the books, but in reality, when you were into it as an expertise, so how much theory was there and how much practical experience you have to gain in order to get your hands on into digital marketing and then starting up and start up also a small business in that. So, can you let us know, like, is it all about theory, or is it all about the practical also you have to do?
Yeah, so I think from my side, how I started with digital marketing is I was still completing my food science degree. I had 1 year to go where I started also teaching myself digital marketing skills. So I bought myself courses on Udemy. So it's just an online sort of Skillshare platform. I paid about 500 Rand for all the courses I took. So it's a lot more affordable than pursuing a degree, I guess. And yeah, I think I just, anything that I could teach myself online about digital marketing, I did that. Um, the problem with digital marketing is that I would never recommend that somebody goes and studies it after school because by the time there's a textbook out, all of that information is already changed or it's not relevant anymore. So you really need to keep your finger on the pulse of things when it comes to digital marketing, and there's absolutely no better way to do that than an apprenticeship or an internship. So I would really recommend that you, if this is something that you're interested in, that you ask a marketing agency if you can intern there and really get your hands dirty and understand what everything is about. Yeah, I think essentially just throw yourself into the deep end. um, Yeah, and then also, so what I did is I sent an email to every single marketing agency I could find online in South Africa, and I asked if I can work there. I don't care if they don't pay me, but I want the opportunity to work there and to learn and get my hands dirty when it comes to digital marketing and growing businesses online. Eventually, there was a company called V8 Media who were based in Sandton in Johannesburg. They were sort of interested in my pitch. And I just kept messaging them consistently, and eventually they were like, okay, we'll give you a position. So I moved from Cape Town in South Africa to Johannesburg to go work there full time. I was there for 6 or 7 months, which isn't a very long time, but I learned so much in my time there. Obviously in the beginning, I felt very out of my depth. I felt very uncomfortable because it's all this new information, and it's a high pressure situation if you have to manage other people's businesses for them. But I ended up managing about 10 to 13 accounts, which is a lot. And I mean, if anybody who has a small business knows how precious a small business is to the business owner. So, there's just a lot of pressure on you, but I think it was a very good thing, because it forced me to sort of just work extremely hard, and then in the evenings, upskill myself on the things that I didn't know I wasn't comfortable with. Yeah, so I ended up working there for 6 or 7 months, and I wish I had stayed there a bit longer, but ultimately I decided to take another job position elsewhere. But to answer your question in short, I don't think that there's an exact amount of time or amount of hours that you have to work in order to feel confident in what you do as a digital marketer. But I do think it's very important that you get practical experience in order to prepare for that, and not just rely on theory related things, because oftentimes what you learn is very different to when you actually start working in the field.
Yes, definitely. Books theory is different when you face the situation in real. That is more important. Real
I
time
do.
experience.
Yeah, so theory gives you that confidence, but I think ultimately you're going to learn the best and the fastest in an apprenticeship, internship type of setup.
Okay, okay. So, ma'am,
Yeah.
what were the basic resources that you used in order to get a knowledge or a basic foundation of digital marketing?
So honestly, it's very simple. So I think the only thing that you need to have is a humble and teachable spirit. And then, secondly to that is maybe a laptop, but also most agencies, when you start working there, they will actually provide you with your own laptop as well. So yeah, I think just being humble and being ready to put yourself out there and to learn.
Okay. So I think only just the motivation is the first basic step, because people get laid back. No, no, I am not doing because I don't have the resources and all. So I think motivation would be the first we should do.
Yeah, just I think again, just understanding that it's not going to be easy, but you're in it for the long run and you're committed to it. And whatever happens, you'll be okay and you'll work through it. I think that is a very good mindset to have before you go into the digital marketing industry.
Okay. So, ma'am, so when you thought like this is the profession I want to go into it, and now I will be starting my entrepreneurship in this field only. So, what was that spark that you realized now I am into this digital marketing and nowhere else?
So it's quite a long story as to how I ended up actually starting my own business and actually starting my own digital marketing agency. But ultimately, I just felt that I had the skills, and in the companies that I've worked for, I've had the results. And on top of that, there was a lot of life changes happening. So we decided to move back to Cape Town. And yeah, there was another job offer on the table, which I ultimately turned down because I just felt that everything was right, you know, so everything was aligning and everything was pointing me to taking this leap of faith to open up my own business. I also prayed about it a lot, which I think is very important to do whenever you make a big decision in your life. And I just received so much peace and confirmation in my heart about opening my own business instead of working for somebody else. And I knew that it wasn't going to be easy, but I felt that whatever comes, I have the tools and the capabilities to handle it. I feel very confident in the fact that I can genuinely add real value, monetary or otherwise, to small businesses. And whatever I'm not confident in or whatever I don't feel ready for in this present moment, I will teach myself or I'll learn. So one thing that I really believe in is that you need to start doing things before you're actually ready, because the reality is that you never truly feel ready for something, especially when it comes to starting your own business. You never get that feeling inside of you that, okay, now is the time. So you need to start even though you don't feel like that. And yeah, I just believe that if you wait for that feeling, then you often miss opportunities, great opportunities that are staring you right in the face. So yeah, in short, I think it's just, it was situational. So, you know, I felt it was a good time to start a business in my life. I am young and I have time to build it now rather than wait until I'm older and then, you know, sort of delay that process. And then also just believing that, you know, I am good enough and I don't want to wait any longer before I start growing my business.
Okay, so ma'am, the question students are asking is like, you started with your own savings or you tried for the fundings from the external sources?
So the beauty of digital marketing is that you don't really have any expenses. I mean, you need Wi-Fi and you need a laptop. That's it. So obviously I have a laptop, which is, I know not everybody will have access to that. So that's maybe something you need to consider. But I mean, you can go sit in a coffee shop, you can order a coffee and you can sit there all day on their Wi-Fi. So your expenses as an agency is quite minimal in the beginning. And then, yeah, I mean, there is an option to later grow if I want to, but right now I'm going to try and do it organically. One blessing I did have is that I have worked for companies that I've had success with that. So I've helped them grow. And they all sort of came back to me and asked to be put on a retainer with them. So now instead of me working directly for a specific company as their head of digital, they are now one of my clients. And another thing is that with the agency I used to work for, V8 Media, you know, I have a very good relationship with them. So eventually they had to cut their smaller clients and they needed to pass them on to somebody. So a lot of those clients also came back to me and asked if I would be interested in taking over the account. So I was very lucky in that I had sort of an immediate client base. But I think I'm now in that stage of my business where I need to start onboarding more clients. So definitely an interesting phase of the business. But one thing I'm very confident in is I have had success and I can show that to somebody on paper instead of trying to convince them of, you know, trying to convince them without any proof that I can actually help them, if that makes sense.
So right now you have the data to show to them.
Yes, I think that's very important.
Okay. So ma'am, in the beginning it must be a one-man army or you were with several other friends, like one or two friends?
So at the moment it's just me, but I know that if you want to grow a business, you're going to have to either get somebody to help you or partner with another agency There's lots of tools that you can use, but for now, until I've hit a certain amount of clients, it's just going to be me. And once I feel I can't manage it anymore, I'll get somebody to help me. It will definitely be a student. So I don't want to have somebody who has experience in digital marketing, because I often find that maybe they are used to an old way of doing things, or they've sort of had success with certain methods in the past, but those methods don't necessarily work anymore. So for me, it's important to have somebody working for me that has a very teachable spirit, who's ready to learn new things, and just start fresh with them and really build something together.
Okay, so that would be definitely great for the students also. They would be also getting a path to learn.
Yes, I think that's very important. I also think, because I was given an opportunity like that, I'd really love to give somebody else an opportunity where they can learn digital marketing, because I really think it's something that can change your life and change your financial position very quickly.
Okay. So, ma'am, as you are aware, like of the pandemic, due to pandemic, everything is online. Even our students can also relate that today we are studying online. Our education is also shifted from blackboard to the digital board as of now. Everything is online. So, if a student, or rather say any person who wants to start their own small business, that too in digital marketing only, then how they can start? Because now due to pandemic we have seen everything is online, so if they also need to start a business also online, so what things they have to do and how they can start immediately with the immediate effect?
Yeah, I love this question. So, a golden piece of advice that I've received from other successful entrepreneurs that I've spoken to is to never quit your day job. Obviously, in this case, it's students, so it's a bit different. But just in general, don't quit your day job to pursue entrepreneurship or pursue your own business. This often puts a lot of financial stress on you. It really pushes you into a corner, because at the end of the day, you still have bills you need to pay and you still need to eat. So it is a huge risk that you're taking, and ultimately, it can actually be the reason that your venture ends up failing in the end, is because you've put yourself in this extremely stressful financial position. So I think for a student, my advice would be to do both. So pursue your studies and start your side hustle at the same time. Obviously, that requires a lot of sacrifice, because you're not going to have as much time to be social or do anything else other than work. But sometimes that's a sacrifice that you need to decide if it's worth making or not. So yeah, just work extra hard every spare second that you have available. And then once you're able to consistently produce income for yourself with your side hustle, that is equal or more than what you're currently earning, then I think that's the time that you need to take the plunge. And no later than that either, because then I think sometimes you might convince yourself to back out of it. But yeah, obviously, I think the first step is to decide what kind of business you'd like to do. Obviously, you get e-commerce or selling things online, or it could be a service-based business. So you need to decide what is it that you would like to, what kind of business do you want to have? And then the next step is to teach yourself, just the basics of running a business online, because online is one way that you can really scale a business very quickly. And I think that's what we're all trying to do. I think if you are not using online, you definitely impacting the growth of your business, whereas your competitions might be using online and then they're growing much faster than you, and ultimately are competing you at the end of the day. So you need to upskill yourself on the basics of an online business. One book that I'd recommend to the learners is a book called Sell Like Crazy by Sabri Subi. So I can maybe give you that link to that book in future. But this book basically explains the value of digital marketing in a business, and then also the basic concept of a sales funnel. So a sales funnel is very important to understand. Visually, it looks like an upside down pyramid. So there's 3 levels and it's an upside down pyramid. The top level you call your top of funnel. So it's people who don't know of your business, don't understand what problem you're solving. So you're making them aware of your business. Then middle funnel is people who now know, and they're in research mode, I would say. So they're looking for prices around that concept. They're looking, they're going online, they're typing in, where can I get XYZ? So they're in research mode. And then your bottom of the funnel are people who you basically just need to put your product in front of them and they'll take it or leave it. So the goal of any business online is to bring someone from the top, so making them aware of the issue, explaining why you're the best, and then selling them. So you need to take them from top funnel all the way to bottom funnel. And I think that book explains it really, really well. I really enjoyed reading it myself. And then what else do I want to say? Okay, so once you understand what a sales funnel is, you can get started on testing your assumptions about your business. So basically, you then put an ad out there and you build a landing page. So you find out how much does it cost you to acquire a client or make a sale. So now you can go do marketing math and figure out if your business has any validity, or if it's something that you can scale or not, or if it's a failed business model. So best way I can explain it is by giving you an example. So let's say it costs you 200 Rand in advertising spend to get somebody to buy your 2,000 Rand product. And in that 2,000 Rand product, you have a margin of 1,000 Rand. That means that you're spending 200 Rand to make 1,000 Rand. And that means that for every 1 Rand you're spending on marketing, you're making 4 Rand. So now I know if I spend 1 million, I'm going to make 4 million, and I'm going to have 3 million, profit from it. So now okay, you can now scale this model. And then only after you've proven your assumptions and proven that your business is scalable and it makes sense, then you only start building your product or sourcing your product or building out your services. I think that's very important, because oftentimes we have an assumption about a business or problem that we want to solve, and then we take it to market and we realize that actually nobody is interested in it.
So you mean the beta phase of the product?
Yeah, so nobody actually wants what you're selling or whatever, and then you've already spent all this money buying stock and convincing yourself that this is the next big thing. So I do think it's very important to test your assumptions before you start building out the practicalities of the business. And just to take your emotions out of it, because oftentimes, again, you think that you have this amazing product or service, and then you find out people don't think it's that amazing, or maybe right now they're not interested in it, and then you get very disheartened. So to just be adaptable in your approach, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I think emotions also play a very important role in the business. So you have to have a good grasp over them also.
Yes, very true.
Okay. So ma'am, one thing we need to know is what make you different as a digital marketer from rest of the digital marketers?
So one thing that I really try to explain to my clients is that I'm a very bottom line focused digital marketer. So I want to directly contribute to the profits of your business or the revenue that you're making. I think a lot of digital marketers come from a marketing background and not really from a business background. So they're more focused on having this beautiful Instagram page or having a beautiful website, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's making somebody sales at the end of the day. So definitely that I'm very bottom line focused, very numbers focused. And then the second thing is, as I mentioned earlier, I think my super skill is discernment of people. So I can very easily understand people and what's important to them, which really helps me to build a marketing message that the target audience can resonate with.
Okay. So actually, students, you need to know, like in the merchant awareness also we have studied, like all that glitters is not gold. So that is also your point. Like every Instagram beautiful page that we see, that is very trendy to us, but still it is not making any business or the revenue. So it is all in vain.
Mhm. So I think a lot of people, there's a challenge because a lot of people say they're digital marketers, but then they're actually just social media managers. Or they're just putting posts on Instagram, but they're not running ads, they're not doing anything that's contributing to the bottom line. So sometimes I'll approach a client because I want their account, and they'll be like, no, I've had terrible experience. I've spent 30,000 Rand and all they did was 5 posts on Instagram for me. So yeah, I definitely think there's a big difference between managing someone's social media and running paid ads that are ultimately going to help them scale their business.
So yes, ma'am, that's the myth we have. Like if we have a digital marketer, so it means they are just managing your social media accounts. So I think you have broke this myth also. Like it is not only just posting; it is all about monetization and every other things.
Yes, yes,
So it is a
very
big
important.
time myth. Like it's like in all also in our India also. If we are digital marketer, it means like you are just posting the content.
Yes.
So, ma'am, so what do you think, like, what you have aged into and other lagged behind in this same industry?
Yeah. I think, well, I really believe that authentic storytelling is extremely important. Is extremely important and is going to become even more important as time moves on. I think people are very, very tired of being sold to, or feeling like brands are being too aggressive and salesy towards them. I think that's a big turn off. So I think authentic storytelling. And I think people really want to connect on a deeper level with a brand. So they want to know that the values that I share as a person resonates with all the brands that I use. So with me as Tamsyn, I resonate with the brand of Apple, or I resonate with a brand that is focused on more things than just making money. So I think authentic storytelling is very important. And then again, I think people are just craving realness. And I think that's something that I fully grasp and understand, and I explain to my clients, and I really I carry through in everything that I do. And I don't think a lot of marketers do understand that. I think a lot of people are more focused on just making money, where I don't think there's more important things than that as well. It's about the legacy that you're leaving behind in a business as well.
So basically, ma'am, you mean to say like we need to have a very good relation also at the end, and then the legacy we need to just show like this is our numbers. That is important.
Yeah, so I think a lot of times I, as a digital marketer, sometimes need to educate my client who's the business owner on, I need to ask them, what's your brand values? And what's the things that when people see your logo, like what do you want them to associate it with? So with Apple, it's sophistication and cutting edge and creativity. So I really push them to build out what their brand values are, and then also any interaction you have with a client, every email you send out, absolutely everything, you need to be able to see all those brand values in it.
Okay. So, ma'am, as you said, that storytelling is very important. In India, we have a book like written by Yuval Noah Harari. He is from Ireland, I believe, if I'm not wrong. He is from there only. So he has also said that from the in the Homo sapiens book, like humans from beginning are believed into storytelling. That's their philosophy. They don't directly go on to the facts and figures. You have to tell them story because we have evolved on the stories only. That's very important. That's the human behavior. So you have understand that human behavior. That was important thing.
Yes, 100%.
So, ma'am, next is just a normal question. Like, as a influencer, so like being an influencer, it is a very important and a tough job. Also, everything has a pros and cons. So, can you just guide us, like how we have to deal up with the criticism that we face, even on the social media or even in the real life also, because every time criticism is there, you cannot avoid that. So how we have to face it as a student also, because parent might be criticizing them that you are not studying, you are not getting good marks, you are not the topper. So in any point of life, in any type of criticism, how we have to face that?
So it's funny because I really don't see myself as an influencer. I think the term influencer has a very negative connotation. I think when somebody thinks influencer, they don't necessarily see thought leader, but they see a girl in a bikini on a beach
Yes, you are
with,
correct. That's the philosophy as of now and the psychology also.
yeah. So I wouldn't call myself an influencer, but I'm aspiring to be more of a thought leader. But yeah, I think regarding your question, with any criticism, you need to think about, or you need to consider the source. So, who is the critique coming from? And do they genuinely care about you as a person? Is it somebody that you respect and look up to in life? Or yeah, is it somebody that's just acting out of their own assumptions that they've made about you? So maybe they look at you and they, because they've met somebody who looks similar to you, they attach certain characteristics to you that's not necessarily validated in how you've acted towards them or what you do for a living. So yeah, I think it's just considering the source. I found that most people don't, or they do want to see you do well, but they don't ever want to see you do better than them. Which is, I guess it's a little sad, but I think it's something we can all deal with, as long as we're aware of it. So to not put expectations on people that are unrealistic. And then, yeah, I think if the criticism is coming from somebody that you know is genuinely in your corner in life and genuinely wants you to see you winning in life, then I think it's about being humble, being humble enough to sit down and analyze why they are saying what they're saying to you and make sure that you make changes accordingly. So yeah, just taking accountability for it sometimes I think is also important.
Okay, so I think you mean to say, if it is coming from the well wisher, you need to talk and work upon that. But if it is, you really feel like it is not from a genuine advice and it is coming out of due to some vengeance,
Yeah,
or you can say due to jealousy, so you need to just forget about it and move on.
yeah, I think it's just to I firmly believe that if somebody's giving you criticism or praise, it shouldn't change how you feel about yourself. I mean, you can choose to take it seriously or not. So, for example, let's say it's positive comments on Instagram. Um, you know, I also consider, who's it coming from? Is it somebody that I genuinely respect? Because then that compliment is going to mean a lot more to me than if it's just whoever making a comment on Instagram. So I think everything should be, you should really consider the source that it's coming from. I think that just comes down to that at the end of the day.
Okay, ma'am. So next thing, ma'am, as you have touched about the topic like Instagram, also you have to talk to the people and then you have to see from where the comments are coming and all. So in this only, how communication skills plays an important role, like either in the real life as well as on the social media life. So because communication is an important thing. If you have a knowledge but you are not able to converse it to the people, then it is all in vain. So that, from that particular point of view, so why communication is an important thing?
Yeah. So I really, communication is, I cannot stress enough, it is extremely important. I think I myself am a very socially awkward person naturally. So this is something that I'm aware of and I work super hard on every single day. And it's also why I enjoy doing talks like these, because it's actually so far out of my comfort zone. But it's an opportunity for me to practice, my communication skills. So I'm very grateful for it. But I'm learning more and more, the importance of good communication and also good body language skills. So I'm currently busy with a 27-day course, a body language course hosted by Vanessa Van Edwards. And I'm absolutely blown away about some of the things that I've learned. So, yeah, for example, did you know that it takes less than a second to make a first impression?
Definitely.
That's
In
crazy.
India, we
Less.
have a synonym idiom as first impression is the last impression.
Yes, but I mean, I think I always knew that, but I didn't know that it's less than a second. So, I mean, you walk into the room and it's already a permanent first impression that you've made. So, yeah, just that it's really important to make a good first impression above all else because they are permanent. In this course that she's hosting now, they did a study and it was with school kids actually. So they had a teacher come in and introduce herself to the class and walk out. And the students had to write down their first impression of her. And then, but yeah, so that was 5 seconds. And at the end of the year, they checked in and they said, okay, they wanted to ask the students to write down what do they think of the teacher now after a year of working with her. And I think 99% of what the kids said were exactly the same as their first impression of her, which is powerful. So it really shows you, how permanent a first impression can be. So I think it's very important to learn how to do that, especially knowing that, it takes less than a second. You might not even have said anything to them, but it's just your body language. It's how you carry yourself when you walk into a room. And I think it's really important to learn this and not to trick anybody into liking you or anything like that, but just so that you can make sure that whatever your purpose is in that room, that you're there to communicate it as effectively as possible. And then I think with digital marketing, you need to display confidence in yourself. Even if you're not confident in yourself, we can go out there with confidence, but I think confidence really only comes with experience at the end of the day. But when you're starting, you need to onboard clients. I think business owners are essentially placing their possession. It's almost like they are, they are trusting you with. Just like anything else in life, if you don't trust yourself, if you don't back yourself in life, you can't ask somebody else to trust you and put their confidence in you if you are not even showing that to them, if that makes sense.
So, ma'am, basically, we have a question from the comment down below. So, how, as a student, a morning exercise or small routine they can do in order to level up their confidence?
So I'm a big believer in, obviously, as I said earlier, I think confidence comes with practice. But self-confidence, I feel, really comes in making small agreements with yourself every day and then following through with it. So when you wake up in the morning and you said you want to go for a morning run every morning at 5 a.m. and you wake up at 5 a.m. and you decide to hit the snooze button, you're actually damaging your self-confidence because now you're teaching yourself that you are not somebody who follows through with what they say they're going to do. So I think it's about, I think maybe sitting down with yourself and writing down your goals and, what you want your daily routine to look like, and then following through with that. I think that's the best way to build self-confidence. And obviously, I think confidence in your work or whatever it is that you do in life, whatever your profession is, or your studies, that comes down to just consistently producing results. But I think if you have self-confidence mastered, it's a lot easier to achieve those things.
Okay, so half the battle is won, we can say that.
Yes, yes.
So, ma'am, as you said, that self confidence and confidence are important, and confidence comes with practice. So, when we have to practice, you have to get a mastery over something. To get into the mastery, you need to find within yourself, like, where is my cutting edge? What is my cutting edge? So, how to find, like, what is our one's or ours cutting edge?
I think this is a very hard question, a very difficult question to answer, because we all have different experiences or different stories as to how we figured out for ourselves that this is this is what we want to do with our lives. I think everybody's story is different. For me, the biggest thing is that I believe that we are not here on earth for ourselves. We're not just here to enjoy a human experience, but each of us have a very unique and important purpose that ultimately works to serve other people. So, yeah, I mean, you have to put yourself out there, you have to be brave, and you need to try a lot of different things when you're young to figure out what is it that you can offer that not other that other people maybe can't, or that you do very well naturally that other people struggle with. And then you need to work on it. You really need to shape it and refine it so that you're not just good at it, but you're the best at it, or you are excellent at what you do. So in my personal example, I know I'm very good at understanding people. I believe that is my super skill as a human being. So I'm going to use that to serve other people. And what I've chosen to do is through digital marketing, help other businesses grow their business so that they can feed their families, or just bring other people financial security through my super skill, if that makes sense.
So that would be great from your side also, if you could be a spark or a guiding light to someone else's life. You can just motivate them at any point of time.
Yes, I think it's the belief that your talents and the things that you're doing, it's important, and you actually have a responsibility to serve other people. It's greater motivation than just saying, I'm just here for a good time, and I just want to be happy all the time. Because the reality is that any industry, there's challenges and there's times that aren't that great. But if you know that you're working towards excellence or success or bigger purpose than just yourself, I think that is it's much greater motivation.
Okay. So, ma'am, like, we know that we have many personalities, and a person, we should, what we see in a person is an admirable personality, so that we can admire them or we can make them as their idol. So we have that one charming personality, some has a desirable personality that everyone desires to be. So what you think, like, which is the essential personality trait a person should at least try to possess, if not by hook or by crook, at least they can try to inculcate, so that they should have good people skills or in communication, or at the end of the day it is benefiting them only.
Mm. I think there's two personality traits that if I see that in somebody else, I want to get to know them more, and I instantly have respect for them. And those two traits are humility is a big one, and tenacity. So you need to be humble enough to accept and learn from your failures in life, but you also need to be determined enough to not, when you fail, to just give up, but to rise to the occasion. And it's difficult to be humble, and it's also difficult to have a determined mindset, because it requires you to sit down with yourself and do self-reflection every day, to be able to accept your failures with grace. So it's not easy. I think our human instinct is to run away when we failed at something because, it hurts, or to become very defensive about it because our egos are bruised. But I can tell you with 100% certainty that in life you will fail. In fact, if you want to be successful at anything, you have to fail, and you have to fail several times over again, because that's the only way that you grow and you get better at it. So yeah, definitely humility and tenacity.
Okay. So, ma'am, as you said that at one moment of time we have a failure in life, so we have to be brave enough to accept that we have failed at that moment of life. So, how we need to accept that, even because we have seen some person that they are just locking themselves in a room, and because they have been depressed, so they are stressed out and they don't talk to the society for weeks, and also they are not able to come out of that. So please tell us, like, in what way you think like we can handle failure? What type of a personality we should have? Like, how to handle it? How to face the situation when it is not in your court?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I'm probably a good person to talk to about this because growing up, I was a big perfectionist. So failure was my biggest fear in life, and it was never an option. And if it happened, it really felt like my whole world was going to end. But what I learned over the years is that you should never attach a failure to who you are as a person. So if you've tried something and it didn't work out, or you made a very big mistake, is to not say to yourself, you're a failure. You are someone who's trying your hardest and you have failed, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful in future. So I just think it's fixing your mindset and seeing failures as a learning opportunity that's going to push you towards your success at the end of the day, rather than either you win or you fail and you're done and your life's finished. Yeah, it's just to have grace for yourself and know that, you know, it's not the end. Doesn't mean the story is now finished because you failed. This is just one speed bump in a very long road that you're still going to carry on.
Okay. So, ma'am, question we have from the comment box is like, since you have an experience of being an entrepreneur and you have your own company, Pique Digital, so they are asking, what do you think where Pique Digital will be in next 5 years? Will it become an MNC, or how you are thinking to expand it?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I at this present moment, I mean, I only started my company a month ago.
Okay.
So it's very new and it's very fresh. So at this moment, I am sitting with myself and I'm asking myself, what are my brand values? And what kind of agency do I want to be? And so far, digital storytelling and bottom line focus is the two things that I really want to harbor on. And then I think the next step for me would be, finding someone else that can help me with the clients that I have. I don't necessarily know where I want to go in future. At this present moment, I'm focusing. So I think my business's future is like a staircase. But I think sometimes if you're already thinking what's happening over here, then it can be very overwhelming and cause a lot of anxiety. Whereas my approach with my business at the moment is to just focus on what is the next step in front of me and how can I do that with excellence. So next step would be onboarding more clients, and the next step after that would be finding someone to help me and to help grow my business. And then other than that, I'm not sure which direction I will go into. I might find that instead of focusing on let's say, because right now I don't really do influencer marketing, but maybe that's something I want to do in future, and then maybe I'll niche into that. So I think for the time being, it's just focusing on what's in front of me and doing that with excellence. And then as I progress and as the business grows, I'll be able to make those bigger decisions later on.
So that's great of you, ma'am. Like just thinking and making other things in the brain and then getting anxiety over it. You are just more focused about what is in your plate right now, and just getting out of those old sugar coated things like this is a will be going on, and then getting back into depression and all.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot what I wanted to say now, but okay, so the
So
I remember, sorry.
yes, yes,
I think,
continue.
yeah, it's very important to be able to pivot. So for now, I'm not focusing there because I want to be able to be dynamic and to pivot when the time comes as well.
Okay, so one of the student is asking when we will have your website also.
Yeah, so I'm busy working on it. I think again is I really wanted to solidify my brand values before I built a website. I'm also going to redo my brand CI completely. So I'm working on that, and then as soon as I have those things down, then I'll be able to get my website up and running.
So do tell us, we will help you, and we will tell our students also because we have seen the enthusiasm in them to just have a look over your website. Do let us know.
No, I will. I will.
So next question, ma'am, we have is, let's say as a data marketer also, and even a personality, a people skill personality you have. So if you in future would like to write a book on, so what book would you like to write?
So, okay, if I had to write a book, it would definitely be about how to overcome imposter syndrome, because that is something that I have really struggled with in my life. And it's something that I'm actually still overcoming in my mindset every single day. So for those of you who don't know, imposter syndrome is basically perceived fraudulence. So it involves having feelings of self-doubt and feeling as though you're incompetent, despite actually being well equipped for something. So being educated, having experience, and having accomplishments under your belt. It's basically the feeling that you don't deserve to be in certain positions or spaces, and that one day people around you are going to figure it out. So that's basically what imposter syndrome means. And it's something I've really struggled with. And I think the biggest breakthrough for me is that you have to anoint yourself. So many people are sort of sitting around and they're waiting for somebody to choose them to do something. And it's funny because they did a study, and about 80% of women in the workplace said that they felt this imposter syndrome. So I think you, as a woman, would maybe be able to.
Definitely, ma'am. We are all a part of this web, you can say.
Yes, but I don't know if you felt it in your life before, like.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely. I have also felt at a personal level at my particular point of life.
Yeah, so it's funny because they say women struggle with it more than men, but men also do struggle with it. So the reason why we wait for people around us to choose us is because we feel that if we are selected or chosen for something, then in a way we have somebody backing us, or we've been granted permission to go and do what we actually want to be doing in life. And it's so funny because in the study that I read about imposter syndrome in the workplace, they interviewed women that were successful, had high positions in companies, and they said that once they were given that permission, nothing really changed, because they felt pretty disappointed because it was like nothing actually changed once somebody told them, okay, well, you can go and do what you want to do now, or you have a title now, or you have you've won an award or something, so now you can go do what you want to do. And I just think the root of it is that a lot of us are afraid of failure, and we're afraid of being rejected or being told that we aren't good enough. But really, when you sit down and you look around you, you're going to notice that a lot of people are a lot further along in the process of materializing their dreams. And it's not because they're more talented than you, and it's not because they've been given more opportunities than what you've been given. It's simply because they started while you were busy waiting around to be chosen to do something. And yeah, I think it's realizing that you might never be chosen, and then you never pursued your dreams because you were waiting around for this permission in life, I guess. So yeah, it's just about not waiting for your big break, and realizing that there's, you have full permission at any time in your life to go out and do exactly what you want to do and solve the problems that you want to solve in the world. And you can take your destiny into your own hands. You don't have to wait for the permission to come, if that makes sense.
Definitely, it makes a sense, and it is a learning for even all the students also.
Yeah, so I think if you want to start a business, for example, don't wait until you feel ready to do it. If you have an idea, just get out there and just start testing your assumptions.
Okay. So, ma'am, one question we have is like, as an Indian, we have a mother tongue, Hindi, and might be in South Africa, we will be having a mother tongue. So, how important is it to get English as a first language and to get a very good command over English as a language in order to communicate over the entire world? That's the question we have from one student.
So I think it's difficult for me. I speak two languages, Afrikaans and English, but I grew up with an English education, so I'm primarily English. So it's difficult to answer that question from the perspective of someone whose first language is English and not another language. But I do think that there are definitely tools out there these days, that help you translate and help you communicate better. But I would say, why not?
Why not
Like,
try your hands on?
yes, why not? Why not learn English and master the language? There's really no downside to it.
Okay,
So yeah.
so yes, ma'am, one question we have is like, let's say if I'm making a content in Hindi as a mother tongue. So, do you really think, like, as a digital marketer, will that content impact the entire world, or I will be confined to my only mother language speaking people? So, my content has been segregated in the audience.
So I think it depends on, who do you want your clients to be as a digital marketer? If you have your own agency, and where are they operating and where are they selling? And it might be, most of the brands, or all of the brands that I work for, are South African brands, and they're only selling to South Africans for the time being. But, you might have a bigger contract that, is international. Then I do think it's very important to be able to communicate in English effectively. Yeah.
Okay, so in order to grow your over the worldwide, you need to have a good grasp over the English.
Yes, definitely.
So I think our platform or this live session is also an example, because I'm a Hindi speaking person but I know English, so I'm able to contact you and we were able to bring on the same page our conversation.
I think it definitely broadens your horizons, being able to communicate effectively. So yeah, I would just say, there's literally no downside to it. So if you have the opportunity to learn how to speak English better, or communicate more effectively, then you should definitely take it.
Okay, so I think it would be also a perk for your business also.
Yes. I think it just, instead of just being able to operate within a certain demographic, it opens the whole world up to you.
Okay. So, ma'am, I think we are finished with the entire questionnaire, because we don't have any chat also with the students with the questions they want to address that you should address. So, we are finished, I think. So, any other last moment tip, like the last tip, or you can say a lesson that you want to say to the Indian students as well as to all the students worldwide?
Yes. Again, I think it would just be to, really just go out there and do things before you're ready.
Okay, ma'am. So I think students, you have learned a lot from the ma'am, and thank you so much, ma'am, from the student side as well as from the Concept Clarity team for joining us and giving us your precious time, your precious knowledge, and the piece of advice that you gave us at the last. So we are very grateful and obliged to you that you spent out the time and came on the channel and share the knowledge with us and your entire business details, everything. So we are glad to have you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great, great honor.
Thank you so much. So, students, I take a leave from your side and from ma'am's side. We will meet you next in the another upcoming streams. Till then,